Hey everybody, it's Jamie from Plum Island Sea Cabin. We had some snow last night. It's a little bit icy this morning, but it's not going to stop us. We're going snow shelling. We are bundled up today. I have gloves, I have boots, I have a jacket, I have 2 sweatshirts, a t-shirt, and a hat. And we're going shelling. So I'm heading up the boardwalk onto the beach, and the dunes are really pretty with a little bit of dusting on them. Let me show you. It's a beautiful morning. Let's get out there to the beach. Nice set of coyote or wolf tracks this morning on the beach. I think it's coyote, but if you know for sure, put it in the comments. A lot of coyotes live in the dunes. So an interesting fact is, I used to think when I didn't live near the beach that when it snowed, the entire beach would be covered with snow. But that is not the case because the tides rise and fall. It's always washing the snow away. So once you hike through the snow down to the beach, you're pretty golden. So right away when I come out here, I see the rocks have trapped some very large surf clams. I mean, that's probably like 8 or 9 inches. You can see my hand here for scale, my very red hand from being chilly for scale. Some moon snails that are trapped in the rocks there. Coming over here, see what's around the bend. Ooh, it's a very nice, hoping it's whole, Stimsoni, blue. Right down here. It's pretty nice with the coloration on it. It's a really nice Stimsoni's whelk. The tip of the whorl hasn't broken off, which is always nice. Usually that's the first to go. And usually there's some holes in it from getting beat up in the surf, but this one looks like it survived. So that is a good first find of today. Getting a little windy. So these little seagull feathers getting wobbly in the wind. So we got a few things going on over here. I'm going to start with these right here. It looks like there's actually 2 sand dollars trapped right next to each other. You probably see it because you probably honed your skills from shelling with me. But right down here, they're kind of laying right on top of each other. Just one there, and the second one there, which is very nice. So that's a very good second find of the day. I feel like I want a prize or something with them laying right next to each other. But there was something over here, if I can find it again. If I just backtrack a little bit through the rocks, you can search with me. There are a lot of mussels that are sunken down into the settlement, into the sand. Very cute little basket whelk here. If I can get the camera on it. Cute basket whelk. But the mussels that are recessed into the sand, that gives you a good indication on what like a mussel bed looks like. Ooh, here's another sand dollar. What a mussel bed looks like. gives you a good indication on what a mussel bed looks like. So mussels create like a large bed on the ocean floor. They're pretty massive. They're blue mussels, and then there's horse mussels, which are larger than the blue mussels. But if I can find what I was looking for before I pass, oh, okay, here it is. This is a horse mussel with a bunch of barnacle on it. So if you can imagine the ocean floor being covered with all of these horse mussels and blue mussels that are all sunken halfway into the sand and the mud, because that's how they live, that's how they feed. So there's massive, almost like these rocks, massive mussel beds on the ocean floor that things like barnacle live on and all other different crustacean and sea life. It provides a nice foundation and a nice bed for all of the sea life to live on, which is why mussel beds are really important. So that's kind of what it looks like, and that's why a lot of times I find mussel shells, it has these really cute groupings of barnacles on them, because that's what they provide. They provide like a good habitat for, like I said, marine life and crustacean to live on. And a lot of times the kelp forests, they grow so big and tall with the ocean surf, it pulls at them and it actually destroys the mussel beds. So that is a danger to the mussel beds, and also dredging. When commercial fisheries dredge for scallops and mussels and moon snails, they tear up the mussel beds. So there's a little bit of information on mussels. So this is a horse mussel right here. I can give you an example of a blue mussel if I find one. Okay, so here's a good example of a blue mussel. And just like the horse mussel, the blue mussel is actually covered with barnacles as well. And the reason for that, look at how beautiful the inside of that is. And the reason for that is because the mussel beds that lie on the ocean floor, again, make really good homes for all of these crustaceans and marine life. Its predator is the dog whelk and some other whelks, moon snails, anything that's a univalve gastropod that has a radula that can get through the shell will definitely try to. Just getting in close here on the rocks, you can see there are little periwinkles. There are little, oh, looks like that's another periwinkle. Like here's a dog whelk here. Ooh, sand dollar. Like, it's funny, you miss all this stuff when you're standing up above it, but when you get down close to it, you find a lot of interesting things in here. Here's a basket whelk. Nice little basket whelk there. Add that to my mini shell collection. Sand dollar. You can see the mussels that we were talking about earlier today. This is kind of how they sink down into the sand. And again, mussels are actually really good. If you have an aquarium, an at-home aquarium, they eat algae and plankton and that type of marine life. So if you have an aquarium at home, they actually are good for your aquarium because they help keep it clean. So it might be good to invest in a couple mussels in there. Keep your fish happy. Let's do a deep dive into these. Look at all the cool stuff that's going on in here. First of all, look at this rock. It's very cool. Put that aside for now though. Got some mussels in here. And this is a good example of the Byssus. So if you can see down in here, when I pull this away, all of that fiber and that silky golden material, give you an up close look with that. That is the Byssus. This is the stuff I'm talking about that holds the mussel beds together. See that thread-like substance? That is Byssus, and that comes out of these guys right here, these mussels. These are blue mussels, And that's how they create those mussel beds. They attach themselves. Let me see if I can rinse this off. So I rinsed it off, and see how strong it is? It's got this whole clump of shell and rock attached to it. So that is it, that golden, silky, thread-like substance right there. That is the byssus, and that's what holds the mussels to the rocks and to the kelp and to the ocean floor. And that's what creates the large mussel beds. Looks like thin strands of hair. But it's very strong. I mean, it's very strong, as you can see. I'm trying to pull it apart, and I cannot. Super strong material. They used to make clothing for emperors out of it, and they actually still do make fabrics and clothing out of it in some parts of the world. It is a very strong material. There's actually some here too, right there. Byssus. Comes from mussels, horse mussels, blue mussels. Here's a good look at it. Very strong material. Sitting by the jetty, and there's like a lot of really big rocks, and there's some really cool, fun, wobbly seafoam in it. So I'm going to share that with you. I'm going to show it to you, but I just also want to show you how big some of these rocks are. So some of the rocks on the jetty are actually behind me. I'm leaning on one of them right now. So there's a lot of very huge, big rocks that I'm going to show you. And there's actually some really cool barnacle that lives on them, and when the surf is very rough, there's some fun seafoam that builds up in them. It's just fun and wobbly to watch it. So this is what happens when the surf is rough. It makes a lot of foam. I can grab a handful of it for you. So it's just a bunch of bubbles that the ocean kicks up. And especially during a storm, oh my god, there's so much of it. It covers the beach. It's kind of crazy, but it is kind of fun to watch it because it definitely shakes like jello. Some really cool tracks on the beach. It looks like it was maybe from a deer that was like booking it down the beach this morning. Must have just missed it, or maybe we spooked it. If we did, sorry about that. Never like to be scary to anything. Looks like this is a huge rock, and it has some pieces of quartz in it. I don't know if it's smoky or smoky quartz. Little periwinkle down here hiding out in it. Ooh, a very cool moon snail with some blue markings on it. Get the muck out of that. Color and the markings on that. That means that will be coming home with me. I just can't get enough of the blue ones, the ones with the dark blue markings on them. Those are the ones I love. And if I can get that blue color to stay without it hitting the oxygen and oxidizing, that would be really sweet. It's more of that sedimentary rock I was telling you about. Look at all the different layers on that. So I'm still hoping to, along with the seahorse, because you know we're looking for the seahorse, I am also looking for a fossil. So add that to the bucket list. So look, there's a little clam down there that's still alive. See if we come in slow, if we can get it to close slowly for us. Don't want to camera to get out of focus, but it just might. But you can see this was a surf clam, or is a surf clam. This is a surf clam, and it is now completely shut. So that happened very quickly, and it shut very tightly. So we'll put this little guy back in the water. Bye, little one. Sorry to disturb you. Since there's no wind and it's pretty good, I'm gonna let you search with me today. So I do see something in this patch right here. I'm gonna hold my camera on it for a couple minutes so that you can see, zoom in on a few areas here so that you can take a look with me. But I do see a lace sand dollar. So I'll give you a few seconds to look for that. I feel like you guys are pretty good now. You'll be able to see it. I'm gonna get closer and closer. And it is right here. Ah, it's only a half. That's a bummer. Can't win them all. Ooh. So here, we'll play that game again. Find the sand dollar. Actually, there's a bunch of them coming up here. So there's one right in my camera view, which I will get you guys a little bit closer. So there's one here. It's a very nice one. And there's one coming up over here that is right in my camera view, which I'm sure you guys could see. You're probably experts by now with the amount of sand dollars we find together. But there's one right here. And another one right here. So 3 in a row. So it's getting a little chilly out here. I'm gonna start heading back to my car. We headed down this way and now we're gonna go back that way. But we came down this way towards the surf line. So you can see it behind me, towards the surf. And we're gonna head back this way towards the dunes, because when it was high tide, it dropped a good rack line up there too. So that way we could hit both. We hit the surf on the way down, and then we hit the upper part of the beach on the way back. Let's do it. So this is the upper part of the beach. This is the upper rack line. And you can see where the snow actually stops. You can see where the snow actually stops and the beach begins. So there's a lot of things that have been collected over here. So there's a mermaid's purse, so it's a skate egg casing. A lot more stuff coming up here. I've actually had situations where I found really cool shells before in the winter and have not been able to chisel them off the ground because they've been frozen. So I'm not sure if we'll run into anything like that today because it is towards 30 degrees. So it's a little bit warmer. So I don't think we'll run into that until we get down to like the teens. But this is the upper rack line. You can see how far away it is from the actual surf right now. So we're gonna take this rack line back to the car. My hands are starting to sting because they're super red. You know, I always bring gloves, but I don't like wearing them because it inhibits me from like picking things up, and then it just gets very difficult when you get the glove wet in the water. Maybe I need some waterproof gloves, waterproof boots, waterproof gloves, then I'll be in business. So guys, that's a wrap for today. I'm pretty much frozen. But thank you so much. Thank you so much for chilling with me today on this cold, icy morning. And I'll see you guys next time we hit the beach.